Hey friends, thanks for joining me for Good God Talks. It's Jen, and before we jump into our 200th episode today, I wanted to point out a couple fun things that we're doing to celebrate. You may have noticed that our studio has changed up a little bit. I am getting more intentional on how I show up for you as you're engaging with the podcast here on YouTube. Make sure that you subscribe and turn on the notifications for this channel. Our episodes come out every Tuesday and Thursday. They're 8 minutes or less, and they're all created to help you build your habit of having uncommon conversations with God in everyday life moments. I also have a resource that's available here in the notes below the video. It's a free online tool called Did God Really Say? And it's for anyone who's ever wondered if you really heard God speak. If there's something you think you heard God say, but you're not sure it was really Him, this resource is free and it's for you. And so let's jump in to today's episode. Hey friends, it's Jen, and welcome to the 200th episode of Good God Talks. I'm so grateful to get to be on this journey with you as we're all engaging in having these uncommon conversations with God in everyday moments. And when I say everyday moments, I mean literally any moment of our day. I have so loved getting to read the testimonials that are posted on podcast platforms and shared with me directly about how the podcast has impacted you and how God is meeting with you and talking with you in these moments in grocery stores and in school pickup lines, in the wee hours of the morning, as some of you are up with newborn children, and on your walks with God, with your Bible opened or your Bible closed, God is meeting with you and talking with you and sharing life with you in really powerful ways. And I'm so grateful to be part of this journey with you. And so I thought, as one of the ways to celebrate, I wanted to go back and revisit the heart behind Good God Talks and why I'm doing the podcast to begin with. I didn't know that we could actually talk with God. I didn't know that relationship with God was something that we could literally have. I thought it was more a figurative term of what it meant to walk out our Christian faith. You are created for life with God. And relationship gets to be actual relationship with Him, outside of the boxes that we might have been taught about or put ourselves or even put the Lord in. If you think about the people in your life that you are closest to, that you are most connected with, who know you and who you know the best, think about the aspects of what makes up your relationship. Now, some of us are thinking about key moments or difficult seasons or beautiful celebrations that we've gotten to share with these people that we love. Maybe your brain jumped ahead to areas of conflict that you navigated and you were able to resolve. You're probably also thinking about fun things that you've gotten to share with one another and ways you've gotten to be vulnerable with each other as your relationship grows and deepens. All of those things are beautiful aspects of what it means to have a relationship as a human. And our relationships grow through healthy communication and shared experiences. Our good God, who made us, who knit us together, who brought humanity into being, He knows that about us already. And He created us to have relationship with Him in the same way. Our relationships with God get to grow through healthy communication and shared experiences. As we're going through any type of daily moment, whether that's incredibly hard or really small and silly or everyday and mundane, those can be shared experiences that we have with God. As I started to learn to talk with God, I really struggled to believe that He wanted to talk with me like He talked with other people. I thought there surely had to be special people that this came easier to, whether it was their personality was more suited toward it or God just loved them better, they pleased Him more. And in this journey, I have discovered time and time again that we are all beloved, that each one of us is treasured and known by God. I got a testimonial some months back. And this listener said, I realized by listening to your episode, I had an underlying belief that God just puts up with me, but that doesn't make any sense. He's under no obligation to tolerate me. The only answer is that He really does delight in me. This was a huge shift in my relationship with Him. It's been much more intimate and delightful since then. we're on a whole new level. I've been a believer for over 34 years. And I can tell you, whether you've been walking with God longer than I have, or you're just getting started, there is more that God invites us into. I'm going to read some passages for us from John chapter 10. I'll start in verse 2. Jesus says, "But he who enters by the door is the shepherd of the sheep. To him the gatekeeper opens. The sheep hear his voice, and he calls his own sheep by name and leads them out. When he has brought out all his own, he goes before them, and the sheep follow him, for they know his voice." So as his sheep, we get to be those who know Christ's voice. And it might be easy to say, okay, well, that was for the apostles, that was for New Testament believers who actually got to hear Jesus speak. But he goes on in the same passage. In verse 14, it says, "I am the good shepherd. I know my own, and my own know me, just as the Father knows me, and I know the Father, and I lay down my life for the sheep. And I have other sheep that are not of this fold. I must bring them also, and they will listen to my voice. So there will be one flock, one shepherd." Jesus is speaking of the sheep who are not yet of the fold, which can be those of us who are of this generation. It definitely includes those of us who are Gentiles, who are not born into Jewish heritage. I also want to highlight for us how the good shepherd and the sheep know one another, just as the Father knows Jesus and Jesus knows the Father. There is incredible intimacy we can hardly understand in our triune God. And he says, hey, my sheep get to know me the way I know the Father, and I will know them the way the Father knows me. We get to receive ongoing relationship with him, ongoing closeness in increasing measure. And so wherever you're at in your walk today, whatever is ahead of you in your to-do list or your agenda, choose to grow this uncommon habit, because these types of conversations with God can become a very regular part of your walk with him. And so here's a question you can ask him. God, what's something you're eager to talk with me about or share with me today? Have a good talk.